Okay, we are here and live in the Chiefs one, so it's a good week. You squeaked it out.
That boy Russell Wilson put a little fear in your heart there for a little bit, huh?
Well, not Russ really, mainly just Pat throwing 3 interceptions. About gave the goddamn game away doing that, but it's okay. We got it. Did you see the size of the goose egg on Russell Wilson's head after he took that hit?
I did not.
Oh my god, dude!
I actually was not watching the game,
Dude.
admittedly.
So he was trying to be an athlete like he is. Vintage Russell was trying to come back. Was trying to scramble for the end zone, and was it Frank Clark kind of tackled him from behind on his scramble. Didn't really get a hold of him too much, but Russell's head just biffed it hard right in the dirt. It was pretty gnarly. Later on, they showed a shot of Russell. My man had a whole ass fucking goose egg on his shit. He's obviously
with the helmet on.
Oh yeah, he turfed it hard. He hit that shit hard. There was a whole thing of turf for the side of his helmet. Like, yeah, he biffed it pretty hard in the turf. He had a whole goose egg. He's definitely concussed. He has a concussion.
Well, I wasn't watching it, quite honestly. I was watching ghost shows with my lovely wife.
Oh, the spookies, the spookies,
the spookies,
spookies, los spookies,
los spookies. See,
los spookies. Okay.
I think it's called Life After Death on Netflix or something like that. Really interesting. Good stuff.
Yeah, I added a couple new little sound bites in here for my own enjoyment while I'm playing video games, but they might also come in during the podcast. Just as a heads up.
News.
I don't want to spoil anything, but this is what happened to Russell Wilson, dude. Man, almost. You got knocked the fuck out. Oh, didn't do it. No.
Oh man.
Now I've got to mess with stuff. No. Oh no. Unfortunate. Hey Abby. Why?
Hi Hamalama Ding Dong.
Why are you not doing it? Hold on. You guys get to watch me fix my settings real fast here. I don't know why I didn't do it. Pain and suffering.
Is it the ones you're using on Call of Duty?
Some of them. I added some new ones after you guys left.
Oh yeah, shout out to Nancy. I think it is called Life After Death on Netflix. The first one talks about near-death experiences, like what people see and shit.
Loki, enough.
And I've always, I believe in life after death. I think there's something that happens to us once we leave our physical bodies.
There it is.
There you go.
All right, now they're working tight.
But the one interesting thing about it, surviving death is what it's called. There you go. Shout out to Kristen, my lovely wife. One thing I've always kind of thought was like an explanation was it's the release of, chemicals in your brain, like DMT in your brain is like a coping mechanism. One thing I've never thought of, and this is what some scientists brought up on the show, is consciousness and brain are directly tied together. And when you flatline, your brain goes dead.
Yes.
So how would your consciousness still be alive if your brain has flatlined? How would you be able to have that perception if your brain is no longer active?
Interesting.
There's another really interesting one where this lady had a aneurysm in her brain. And not like the aneurysm where like typically people will find out about an aneurysm because they like seize up or whatever.
She just...
No, they found this lady's like before she had seized up. I guess like the technical definition of an aneurysm is there's like a cell in your brain that gets inflamed with blood or something. I don't know. The only way they were going to be able to save this lady's life is if they stopped her heart for like an hour-long procedure and basically drained all the blood from her brain and let that pocket drain out. This is like in 2005, very well documented.
Yeah.
And so she undergoes the procedure, right? And when she wakes up, she is telling the doctors that although she was clearly unconscious and they had, like a cape in front of her eyes like they typically do, she saw the medical procedure happening. Like she explained it like she was walking around the operating room.
So like an out of body?
Yeah, out of body, but at the same time, she was having like near death experience, like in the other realm, where it was like almost she was two places at once. I don't know. It's really hard to describe. If I would just recommend watching it. Um, anyway, she knew things about that operating, like the tools that they were using. She described it like that it looked like an electric toothbrush. And the doctor was like, if someone asked me what it looked like who didn't know what it looked like, I would say it looks like an electric toothbrush.
Hmm.
And then she described the kit, like it's almost like a tool kit that it comes in, with like
Yeah.
different gadgets, sizes of stuff.
Uh-huh.
And she said it looked like my dad's socket wrench kit growing up. And it looks a lot like a socket wrench kit. And he was
Interesting.
like, I have no earthly idea how she would know that stuff because she was not awake. She was not conscious. Just super interesting stuff, man. I don't know.
Yeah, that's huh.
I don't know how it works. I don't know where we go, but I'm pretty sure something's on the other side, brother.
Gotta be something, man. Olo squash.
This ain't it. This ain't it, Chief.
Nah. No, it's not. That's super strange. All right. Interesting. Huh.
Yeah, give it a watch.
Perhaps I have other things. I got other things I need to watch. Get a couple of recommendations from you that I need to sit down and watch at some point too.
It's
So
on Netflix.
yeah,
also.
I saw
Very
that one on
good.
there and I was like, what the hell is that? And then I just scrolled past it.
Made
The
me
world-
cry, and it made me laugh out loud a few different times. Anyway, I'll shut up now.
No,
but
you're
what
good.
We've been watching on Netflix.
True. And we can watch the Los Spookies after we're done with the Harry Potter marathon.
Yeah, watch that.
The world has gifted us this week
Pretty much on a silver platter.
on a silver platter one very big topic, and then I, for the life of me, cannot remember the second one. I'm sure you have it keyed up. There was at least two things.
Yeah. We talked about it. Which one's the one you remember?
Well, obviously the really big one that just happened.
Which one's that?
The worst trade deal in the history of trade deals.
Okay, yeah, that's the one that comes to my mind. There is another one too that I'll
Yeah.
think of, but I can't think of it right now.
I can't remember. Anyways, well, so
It'll
yeah,
come up.
yeah, we'll figure it out. We kind of just fly by the seat of our pants on this bitch. Yeah. So this past week, we got to witness like I said, the worst trade deal in the history of trade deals, where we. And I'm gonna put
Brittney
it.
Griner's coming home. Everybody.
I'm gonna put
She's
it this
coming
way
home.
because the memes made me laugh very hard. We traded away a number one shooter for a guard and didn't even get a second round pick or cash considerations.
Look, man, an American's coming home, okay? And I don't appreciate your sarcasm towards an American. You know what, Ben? It's because she's black and she's a lesbian. That's your problem.
That's
with
definitely
it,
not.
okay?
That's not
your
why.
problem with
That's
it, you
not why
fucking
at all,
bigot.
dude. That's
You're
not.
such a bigot, dude. I can't believe I do a podcast with you. That's why you hate it so much, dude. That's why you hate it so much. Not that this guy's gonna go back into the arms trade and keep
Not at all.
selling arms to rebel forces that have been responsible for millions of deaths in Africa and directly sold arms to people fighting against us in the war in the Middle East. It's not because of that. It's because she's black and it's because she's a lesbian, dude. Just say it. Just say it.
I refuse because that is not why. No. So okay, I'll put it this way. Yes, it's great that we're getting an American back from Russia. Okay, that's great. We don't like
is
Americans. We don't like Americans being detained in Russia. Now,
All sarcasm aside, that's great.
yes. Now, in the same breath, though, did she break the law when she went to Russia? Yes,
Yes.
100%. Did they also throw the book at her because we're fighting a proxy war? Also, yes.
Yes.
But, and I had some knee-jerk reactions on Twitter, obviously, because I was like fucking pissed. And then I did some more digging into it. So we had been in talks with Russia for months about getting Brittney Griner and Paul Whelan, who, if you guys don't know who Paul Whelan is, he's a former Marine who went to Russia for a wedding. He was there for a wedding. The friggin'
wedding.
Yeah, a wedding. The fucking whatever you want to call them over there, the Russian police or the remnants of the KGB, whatever they're calling themselves now, picked him up and accused him of being a spy and slapped a 16-year prison sentence on him. So, yeah. and it's because, and again, this was just I got this information off of a news clip from Russian state media that I found on TikTok while I was scrolling the other day. So take this with a grain of salt. But apparently he was there taking pictures of churches or getting pictures of churches, I guess, for this wedding or whatever. But he was getting them handed to him on a thumb drive, on a flash drive. And that was back in when was that? 2018, I think. It's been 2 years, 2019, somewhere in there. It's been a couple years since he's been in prison over there. So yeah, it was, we're in a very modern era. Nobody uses thumb drives anymore. So kind of sus. So maybe he was doing some espionage, whatever.
Pretty sure the dude is a spy.
Yeah. So he was a former Marine.
I also have a new. Sorry, not. It's on topic. I also have a new favorite term because they were calling spies spooks on a podcast, and that's my new favorite term for spy.
That's a very old term for a spy.
I know, but I love it. When they first said it, I was like, "Wait, no, he's white, right? Like you can't say that. Like that's a term you cannot say that." And then I googled it, and I was like, "Oh, thank God! Like I'm gonna have to stop listening to this podcast." It put fear into my heart for a second. I was like, "Oh my God, these guys are gonna get drugged. I cannot believe this is a real thing right now."
Hashtag cancel Alex for listening to racist podcasts.
I'm saying I was going to stop listening to that podcast because I was very misinformed, and now that I know the real meaning of it, I like using it. It's not not as a racial derogatory term, but speaking about spies.
Spies, yes,
very clear.
So yeah, he was Paul Whelan's a former Marine. He was other than honorably discharged for apparent behavioral problems. So he probably had issue with his leadership. So they were just like, "Fuck out of here."
Red flag number 1.
Yeah, and then more than likely, depending on whatever his job was in the Marines, I didn't look too much into it. Perhaps more than likely has gotten recruited by the CIA to be a spook. Anyways, he's in jail. So we were working with Russia months ago to get both of them like in a 2-for-1 trade. Brittney Griner, Paul Whelan for Bout, who's colloquially known as the Merchant of Death. Russia was not trying to trade both of them for Bout, which, from the outside looking in, seems like a fair trade, right? Russian arms dealer who's responsible for this, like, the selling of arms all around the world, causing millions of deaths. And then, on the opposite side, we're trying to get a friggin' WNBA player back and an American who's more than likely a spy. Russia was like, no. And then we were kind of just like, okay, what if we just get Brittney Griner? And Russia was like, yeah, sure. And so we did it. So from the outside looking in as someone who's not, a political science major or somebody who follows that side of, friggin' negotiations that hard, pretty lopsided trade. And it feels like Biden kind of just shit that trade down his leg.
Yeah. Oh, great. Oh, soundboard. Haha, soundboard.
Yeah. So
it's funny because he shits his pants in real life too. Funny.
Yikes. So yeah, not the best trade deal at all.
I said this to you already. I have no problem with it if it were me or you or any other American sitting behind bars in Russia. If we would have made this trade for just a normal American citizen, I still think it's maybe not a great trade.
Yeah.
But I have a spin zone on that too. Another thing that I heard on another podcast that I was like, ooh, spin zone. Let's see if we can make this good. Because I'm really trying not to be the old antagonist that I always am. I remember the other topic, the journalist, the soccer journalist.
Oh, true.
And it's looking like he was not killed. Anyway,
no, he was
that kind of woke me up a little bit. I'm like, Alex, you can't just jump to conclusions on everything. You gotta, you preach to people who do their own research. Don't just jump to conclusions. Anyway, if they would have made this trade for you or I or any other American citizen, I'm cool with it. Still don't think it's a great trade, but whatever. Yeah. An American's coming home.
Yep.
Problem I have with it is I don't think they would. I think this was done in political pandering.
Yes.
To an audience. From a president who's struggling in approval numbers, that he can put this on his resume when it's time for re-election season. And I don't think it was done out of a goodness of heart. I think it was done to
What's up,
pander to
Danny?
an audience. And no,
Yeah, there was a very large PR factor for the home crowd in this trade.
exactly.
Because number one, female, checkbox. Number two, black, checkbox. Number three, gay, checkbox. So we checked 3 boxes off and then traded for a fucking arms dealer. So it looks great for us back home, because it checked all of those in a big PR stunt for Biden to be like, look what I did. I brought an American home, and she, also happens to be all of these things. And it's like, that's all well and good, but this is just another kind of like bullshit feather in your hat to try and get reelected or make yourself or pump your approval numbers up.
Yeah, like Nancy just said, goodness of heart, politics, question marks.
Yeah.
Yeah, those
No.
two things typically don't go hand
They
in hand.
They do not go together.
Typically don't go hand in hand. But what if, I got a couple spin zones here.
Send it.
What if we flipped the Merchant of Death while he was here and we're like, look, we're giving you back to Russia, okay? But we're going to pay you more than you could ever dream of to give us intelligence on the KGB or the Soviets or whatever you want to call them, on the Russians. What if? What if we flipped them?
It is a very cool thought experiment, which would be super dope if true. Highly unlikely.
The dude was never out actively shooting weapons and killing people. The dude just found a way to make a lot of money.
Well, yeah, most arms dealers never go out and actually fucking kill anybody with the weapons that they're selling to people. No. But the weapons he was selling were to enemies of the United States.
Very immoral. Correct.
Yes, and yes, because the money was involved, but he's also feel like there's a nationalistic portion of it for him. So,
and then the other thing, and this isn't a spin zone, a genuine question is, why does Russia want him so bad?
Well, because he's a Russian citizen.
I don't think he is he?
I'm pretty sure he is. I'm almost positive
quick.
that Bout is a Russian citizen.
It reminds me of that movie War Dogs, where there's just like, they find that huge warehouse. Like one guy knows that where there's a huge warehouse of like AK-47s or whatever, and then
he's a Russian arms dealer.
And, he was Russian.
And
then that makes sense.
And then apparently has also said wholeheartedly supports Russia's war in Ukraine. So there's no shot we flipped him.
Oh,
well,
never mind. There goes that.
Squash said also part of a 2-time gold medal winning Olympic team. Just another checkbox. True. So, an American hero.
That makes it even worse then, because he's going to go back to Russia and continue to help perpetuate a war against the Ukrainians, in which we continue to send resources and money to. So not only was it a bad trade, but it's literally going to cost us more money to help aid Ukraine.
Yep. Yeah. Terrible trade. Now, so yeah, it's not a good trade. And freaking
really
Paul,
to make this positive.
There's no positivity in this dude. Paul Whelan's family did come out with a statement. Well, not even his whole family. I think it's just his brother. That was like, yeah, it's good that we're bringing another American home, but also, Paul would like to come home too. So,
yeah. The thing that I don't like about it is people attacking Brittney Griner for this. Like, what the fuck is she supposed to do?
Yeah, she had no say in this. What's she supposed
to do? Say, no, I'm not gonna come home? Because don't attack Brittney Griner for this. This isn't her fault.
Her part in this was being a dumbass and bringing fucking THC cartridges to Russia.
And
while we're going through a proxy war. So, yeah, she might have done it before and not got caught, but that's because there wasn't a fucking proxy war going on. Now any American that's coming to Russia for anything is getting scrutinized heavily.
Yeah. I didn't know that Merchant of Death was pretty much the whole reason why, when you think of like the Taliban or anybody we're fighting in the Middle East shooting with AK-47s, really every AK-47 that was over there was in response to him selling them those AK-47s.
He sold a lot of them, and a lot of the stuff the Taliban had was also left over from when the Russians left in the 80s.
Well, there you go.
So Russia basically did the same thing that we did when we left Afghanistan. They pulled out and left everything behind, and the Taliban was like, "Sick, dude, free gifts."
Yeah.
So, yeah. So between what they had left over from the 80s and what that dude sold to them, yeah. And also, funnily enough, if you guys didn't know, Nicolas Cage started a movie that was based around that guy, basically.
I didn't know that either. Apparently,
it's
there's
a Nick
like a
Cage
whole movie.
It was a Nick Cage movie that was heavily inspired by The Merchant of Death, with Nick Cage as the main character and an arms dealer.
I don't remember that they steal the Declaration of Independence, right? Different
one. I don't remember. Yes, it's definitely not National Treasure. I don't remember the name of the movie off the top of my head right now. Maybe somebody can look it up for me. But Lord of War. See, there you go. Squash got it, dude. It's a fucking font of information.
Jamie, shout out.
But yeah,
that's rough. Danny coming out of left field saying
Big Pharma
isn't killing anyone. That's another topic. But yeah, and they definitely are.
Oh yeah, they're 100% slowly killing our society. Well, not our society, just the people that live in our society. We live in a society.
Kind of weird that the percentage of heart attacks among vaccinated people is like up like 26%. That's kind of strange also. But
yeah.
Listen, I am not an anti-vaxxer. I'm just statistics, facts,
Yep.
Just causation or correlation. I don't know.
That's for the statisticians to decide. But
yep. I get it.
That was in response to the Merchant of Death not killing anyone. Gotcha, Danny.
I connected the dots.
But yeah, so pretty bad trade overall. Russia said that they're not going to trade Paul Whelan unless we give them a spy back in return, to which the American government was like, we don't have any of those in custody here. And Russia was like, oh, okay. And we were like, no, but for real. And I don't know if we do or we don't.
Find one, maybe? Let's just go find
just go find one real fast and be like, hey,
let's go find a Russian spy.
We found something of yours. Can we have our thing back now?
Put up a help wanted sign.
Help wanted Russian spy.
Just make an ad on Craigslist.
Russian spy wanted for trade agreement.
No, we don't want them for a trade. We just want them. We just want an interview or something. We just want to sit down, just talk a little bit.
Just have a chat.
In a very secure location that has only one door out, that's secured by armed guards.
And you have literally no idea what day or the week it is ever. So that was the first thing. Just a pretty shitty trade overall. Number two, and people got real up in arms about this one. So very unfortunately, this past week, I can't remember a dude's first name off the top of my head right now, but Wahl. He was a football reporter, played way back in the day. But he was a journalist, a reporter for, was it Fox? I think it was Fox, right?
Yes.
Fox. For Fox, yep. He covered soccer for Fox Sports Network. And he was in Qatar covering the World Cup. And kind of early on in his trip a little bit, he was kind of like, I don't feel too super great. Could just be a cold, whatever. Went and got medical help, got some antibiotics and stuff, because they were like, probably a upper respiratory infection, might be bronchitis. Here you go, run this. And he said he started feeling a little better. Well, the other day, while he was at the journalist booth, while he was covering one of the matches, he basically went into the cardiac arrest. His chest got super tight, all that jazz. He was rendered aid very quickly, then taken to the hospital, but unfortunately subsequently died. And what people have tried to lump this in with is the friggin' all the migrant workers' deaths that happened, which atrocious that Qatar just let this happen on their watch while they were trying to build infrastructure for the World Cup. But they're just lumping all of this together and trying to just shit on Qatar for this, when in all actuality, Wahl had no part in that. He was just a youngish man who happened to get hit with cardiac arrest, and it could happen to anybody at any time. So it's not Qatar's fault in that. So I have not enjoyed seeing. Yeah, 48. I think 48 is pretty young to have a heart attack.
Well, a lot of the controversy came from he tried to wear a rainbow flag entering one of the games, and he was denied entry at the gates. They were like, "You can't wear that." And they were trying to send him home, but then later on, like, FIFA officials came over and were like, "No, it's fine," and everybody apologized to him and let him in.
Yeah.
And then his brother made a really weird. I mean, I know everybody grieves differently, but his brother is gay, and it was like, the reason for his death is because of me, because he was wearing that rainbow flag shirt. And he's like very much fake crying in this video, and it was a really odd video. And I think that's because honestly, that's where my mind went first. Was the dude was trying to wear a rainbow flag in, and somebody iced him,
Yeah.
But then as more information came out from other U.S. media members who were in the same box as him, as he fell back in his chair and went into presumably cardiac arrest. That's not.
Yeah, the coroner's report hasn't come out, I don't think.
Yeah. No, but they rendered medical aid there and then tried to get him to a hospital, and then it was just all.
Yeah, it's just really, it's just an unfortunate situation. It's not anybody's fault, and it's not like this giant conspiracy that Qatar is responsible for the death of this journalist. That's none of what's going on. It was probably more than likely when you've had the initial like, wow, my chest doesn't feel too good, and went to medical, and they just kind of like, bronchitis. That was probably just a failure on the medical team rather than doing more research onto it. Just kind of being like, it's probably just, assuming rather than actually providing adequate treatment. And then it went on a few days later, and now we're at where we're at, where unfortunately the man has died. Yeah. So
still tragic, and it's still a huge loss to the soccer community.
Yeah, he was very influential and a big part of that community. So yeah, it's tough for the soccer community.
He was just a huge part in making that. I think it's called Rivals or something like that. It's on the rivalry between U.S. and Mexico soccer. I mean, he was a very influential part of the soccer community, which I'm not a member of. I, on Twitter, admitted that I watch soccer once every 4 years when it's the United States, and in my head pretend like I know a lot about the sport, but that's about the only time I watch soccer. But still very tragic. I mean, tough loss, but
yeah,
Qatar officials did not ice him for wearing a rainbow shirt.
To lump it in there with all the other things that are going on with the controversy about the World Cup being in Qatar is not accurate and not factual.
And don't get me wrong, Qatar still pulls some really shady shit.
Oh yeah, Qatar still sucks, but
yeah, they've been making it known. From what I've read and researched, is that they realize that their oil well isn't literally drying up, but their funds from oil, which is what makes all of them as rich as they are, eventually is going to go away with Tesla, electric vehicles, that sort of thing. So they're trying to do what Dubai has done and shifted to more of a tourist destination, where use a lot of that money to build these very fancy, elegant buildings, and made it this spot, for Instagram influencers to go and take pictures. And they're trying to follow that model, and they've wanted to keep as much negative PR off of this event as possible, because the last thing they want is people on a global stage to watch Qatar and then see these people being imprisoned for drinking alcohol or not wearing the proper attire or whatever. They've been really lax when it comes to that.
Yeah, for their standards as a country that has based their laws off of Muslim law, Yes, they have laxed a lot.
Now, if you're a Qatari citizen and they catch you drunk, then they're like, "What are you doing?" They're
Yes,
gonna throw the book at you then.
straight to jail.
But for outsiders, for tourists, they've been very lax. I mean, they let him in wearing that rainbow shirt. Which what would be I don't know if it'd be punishable by death, but I know it's
I don't think it's
punishable by law.
It's
for
punishable by law.
Qatari citizens.
I don't know. I haven't dug into their laws and what the punishments are for it, but I'm pretty sure it's not death. But there will be. I mean, it's probably jail time. But yeah,
It wouldn't be good.
no, it would not. But I mean, they're not on the far end of the spectrum like Iran is, who's literally going around in towns and just fucking murdering people for speaking up against the government.
Yeah. Like when we knocked Iran out of the World Cup
Mm.
and all those guys had just like refused to sing the national anthem or something like
So
that.
the Iranian national soccer team didn't do it the very first game of the World Cup. They did sing the next game, which I think was against the U.S.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so not good. There's a lot of
And all
emotion.
those guys are going home knowing
Things are not going to go
this
well.
probably isn't going to be great.
Yeah. Yeah, so not super great for Iran.
God bless America. Maybe Brittney Griner will sing the national anthem now when she comes home. I mean, I would. I think she should be thankful.
Honestly, yeah.
I mean,
I would be.
maybe. Fingers crossed.
I can't sing for shit, but I'd do it.
National anthem at the World Cup was major goosebumps too. That was awesome.
Oh, it's always in international sporting events when you hear the national anthem, you're just like, fuck yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
But
so, yeah.
Yeah. Well, damn, we kind of breezed through those first two topics pretty heavily, or pretty fast, I should say.
We'll find more to talk about.
Well, we could talk about that documentary I sent you that we haven't had a chance to watch yet because we can't fucking find it.
I don't know how. I think you have to create an account. It's 1956.
No, 1946. It's called 1946: The Misinterpretation. Hold on, I'm gonna look up the full title because it's super interesting. I saw it. The only reason I sent it to you is because I was again scrolling through TikTok and there was like not an ad, but there was a TikTok about it because it was obviously it was a gay.
We do a little trolling. It's called We Do a Little Trolling.
I forget. It's not that. I forget that my number pad is where my soundboard is. So I have to use my other numbers, so I don't keep doing that.
Talk about the
there it is.
Being kidnapped by a FedEx driver.
What the hell?
Look that up while you're doing that.
Yeah. So it was a gay individual that made the video on TikTok, and he was like, "This is gonna, you know what? I might be able to just pull it up. Let me see if I can just pull it up because it'll be more poignant that way if I could just pull up what I sent you." I'm probably going to mute TikTok immediately because it's already. Oh, there we go. Mute that. Okay. Oh fuck! I gotta log in. I don't know what my login is. QR code. Here we go.
Apparently, a FedEx driver in Texas was arrested Friday for kidnapping and the murder of a 7-year-old girl. I'll keep looking at that while you.
Okay. All right, we're just gonna do this right fast. Excuse me. Scan the. There we go.
Yeah, okay. So this TikTok will obviously explain it, but it's about how the Bible's been misinterpreted when it comes to passages about homosexuality in the Bible.
Yeah, it was super interesting. So I went to go try and find the that's not what I wanted. Find the documentary to oh, I texted it to you. Fuck. Hold on.
You did. Which has always been my biggest beef with the Bible is that at some point in time it was interpreted by man. And although I think there's a lot of good tenets in the Bible, I don't necessarily know the validity of all of the interpretation, because I don't think anybody ever will, unless you were looking at the original scrolls.
Right. All right. Let me go see if it just popped up. Yep, there we go. Okay, here we go. I'm going to share the screen real fast. Okay. Unmute that. Is there a full screen? It's fine. Okay, here we go. You guys, I'm going to make sure that this goes the right way. Go live. Click on that.
Oh, this is gonna piss off a lot of people. And I like it. Keep on watching though, keep on watching.
Neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor effeminate, nor homosexuals shall inherit the kingdom of God.
God's given us his word, and to go against that's wrong.
1946 is the first time in any language, in any translation, the word homosexual ends up in the Bible, right?
I found that incredibly hard to believe.
Who made this decision? Why did they make this decision? How did they make this decision?
Here is the famous 1946 RSV New Testament.
I found that they had left their archives at Yale University.
I think we went through 60,000 documents. So I'm reading this for the first time.
Oh, this is exactly what we are looking for.
This is it.
I was wrong, or I think I'm wrong, about what the Bible says.
What is in the Bible is a behavior. It's a behavior that heterosexual people can do. Religion and politics get together.
There is a religious war going on in this country. It is a cultural war, but this war is for the soul of America.
Hey, sweetie. What you're doing is contrary to the Word of God.
The authority of the Bible is at stake. How do we undo a lie that is so ingrained in our culture?
Oh.
Right. So yeah, there you have it. Super interesting. I was very interested when that popped up. I was like, what is he talking about? And then they went into that, and I was like, oh. So then I tried to do a dive to figure out if it was on Netflix or anything. Not on Netflix yet, unfortunately. So I think our research showed that we might have to make an account on their website and then buy the documentary. But like Alex and I have been saying, like this, we've been talking about this for a while, like back Old Testament, like that it was misinterpreted and mistranslated. And that documentary, from the looks of it, goes into when that misinterpretation happened and kind of the reasons behind it. So it's like super interesting. I would kind of want to sit down and watch that at some point. But yeah.
I would love to. I kind of stumbled into a thread on Twitter that I didn't really want to be a part of. But so one of my friends, the pastor that I've been trying to get on this podcast for a long time, Zach Lambert is his name, Zach W. Lambert on Twitter. This documentary actually retweeted one of his tweets. I didn't know that until I started looking, trying to find a way to watch it. But his tweet was, if your pastor tells you to reject your queer kid, reject your pastor and find a new church. Which you might expect would draw out a lot of very interesting people on Twitter.
A lot of those closed-minded religious types.
And what one response was what I've learned from this thread is that there are some Christians who cannot even process the idea that a person can be sinful and loved at the same time. It's been a long time since I was shocked like this. I replied, I feel like it's because their sin isn't as bad as the quote-unquote nasty homosexual sin. This is in satire, by the way. It makes total sense because God definitely ranks sin, and some sins are acceptable and others aren't, right? Which I had some people respond to that being like, yes, you're right. And I'm like, wait,
you missed the entirety of it, dude. It went... Oh God.
One guy said, yeah, he does, and uses his name to justify your hate is on the top of the list. You're going to the depths of hell. Repent. I was like, hey,
Jesus
man,
Christ.
this was satire. And another person said, I mean, homosexuality is specifically singled out as an abomination to God. So
Yeah, in a translation that happened in the 40s and afterwards when people had it out for the gays.
well, then the guy that originally replied to me quoted from the Bible, "For all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God." If homosexuality is an abomination, and you have removed homosexuality from a person, that person would be no less sinful or in need of grace as they were before. True for any sin.
Now, I have issue with the fact that he said remove homosexuality out of somebody because you can't do that.
Well, no, he's just saying in theory.
Oh, in
So
theory.
in
Okay.
theory.
I
Yeah.
was about to say, I thought this man was like one of those like fucking gay conversion camp type people.
No. This guy is saying like, okay, let's say in theory, you could extract homosexuality out of a person, right?
Yeah.
And let's just view it from a lens of some of the closed-minded people on Twitter that were replying to me that homosexuality is, an abomination of God, right?
Yeah.
Well then, okay, so let's magical world remove homosexuality from that person. Then you still view it in the context of for all have sinned and fallen short from the grace of God. So as humans, we have a sinful nature. That's just the way that it goes.
That's how it happened after the Garden of Eden, yes.
That's just the flaw of all humanity. So to say my sin is any greater or less than your sin because it's a different type of sin, it was explained in a church camp to me growing up once, where a guy's walking through a field and he steps in a pile of poop, and the guy who stepped in it says, "Oh, gross! I stepped in poop." Nobody's gonna say, "Well, wait, is it bear poop or is it dog poop or is it cat poop or is it human poop?"
It's poop.
Poop is poop.
Yeah.
So it's sin is sin. It's not. There's not one that's any greater than or less than another.
Right.
So to say that you should reject someone who is a homosexual in the name of God is completely backwards. It doesn't
so
make
much
any sense
so
to me.
backwards. And it's all those are the same people that always forget that like when Jesus stepped foot on the earth, like we stopped living by what the Old Testament said.
Yeah, exactly.
And we live by what the New Testament said, what Jesus said. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that nowhere in the New Testament does it say to hate gay people or that any of that is like a sin. Unless it got like they said, misinterpreted.
They talk about adultery in a very similar lens in the Bible. And what did Jesus do when the high priests or whatever,
the Pharisees brought Mary Magdalene before him? He said, "Ye who has no sin, cast the first stone." And they're all like, "Oh,
he got us again.
Damn, he got us."
Yeah. Well, and then people in response to that would say, "Well, that's because he told her to go forward and sin no more." Okay. So let's say again, in a mythical world, she got caught performing an adultery the next week, and they brought her back. Do you think he'd say, "Oh, well, I told you, time to stone her"? No, it's not in the nature of Jesus. That's not in the nature of true Christianity. So it's ridiculous. I do want to watch that.
I am very interested by that documentary. I do want to watch. I hope one of the streaming platforms picks it up.
Yes,
I hope
too.
But if it doesn't, then whatever they're charging for it, I'll support their grassroots movement and pay to watch the film on their website.
Yes, I will as well.
But yeah, it's very interesting. It's very interesting to me.
Are too many people that have been rejected by the church because of homosexuality, and that is just asinine.
Yeah.
We're all sick. We're in the term of sin and in the term of like, if we needed to go to the doctor, it'd be like saying, well, you have a cold and you have the flu,
cancer,
so you can come in, but you can't. That's not how it works.
Christians said the best thing that Christians have done for me is they used to give me hope that if you could ungay people, maybe one day I could be made gay because men are too much work. Damn! And then found Alex, so we're good now. But I still hold that hope for others. Oh, God, dude.
Emotional damage.
Fucking roasted. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I think I'm pretty. I would say I'm decently passionate about this area of life and the world and in my life because of what I went through as a preacher's kid, and then leaving that whole realm and looking at things from the outside, looking in, knowing what I already know, and going, "Damn, these motherfuckers are hypocritical as fuck." And
Well,
then kind of to those that'll listen and have interest in it, like kind of combating in a way like established religion being like, they're fucking you.
I think what grinds my gears the most about it is you have a hateful part of your heart towards someone, which is completely anti what Christ calls us to do as Christians.
In the Bible, it equates hate to murder, so.
And you're viewing this as in a lens as if reading the Bible gives you the ability to interpret situations in the way that God or the creator of the universe does. And the second that you think you're as smart as the entity that created the universe, I get really turned off by anything
100%.
that you're going to say. Because you're putting God into this little box, of saying, well, it's in the scripture, so that's what it says. It also says God can take beautiful things and make them, or broken things and make them beautiful.
Yeah, they've like you said, they put God in the box of the Bible and said that he cannot operate outside of what we have here, and that's just factually not true. And like Nancy said, true Christians are not spiteful or judgmental, which is 100% true. Those like most a lot of people, like, I wouldn't say a lot, but I've met people in that realm that I'm like, oh, they think the same way I do, basically. Like,
yeah,
they're out there doing, like established religion is fucking it up and has been fucking it up. And off on a small tangent, one of the things, and this could be wildly incorrect, but one of the things I used to justify my not obsessive, but my mouth, because y'all know I cuss up a storm because I don't care, but in justifying that sometimes to those religious people that come at me like, oh, you shouldn't do that. I'm like, dude, do you not remember the passage of the Bible where Jesus rolled into the sanctuary and started flipping tables and cursing people? The man literally cursed and flipped tables. Like, cursing it's the same. Like, yeah, like
it again, it goes to the nature of the act that you're committing.
Yeah.
If you, we've talked about this so many times, but it goes down to the intent behind what you are trying to do. What you're trying to accomplish. Are you trying to be mean and hurtful and spiteful with your words? Because you can really hurt someone and break them.
Oh, been there, done
words,
that.
Yeah, that with words that wouldn't be deemed as quote unquote curse words. Do you think just because you're not using the word fuck when you're breaking someone down to an emotional level that God deems it as okay? No, it's the intent.
Yeah, it's
in which what you were trying to accomplish.
Always the intent behind it. Squash said the ability to speak does not make you intelligent. He said that's in relation to the people that use the Bible to spread hate.
Exactly.
100%. And Abby agreeing with me about the thing. Like, yeah, and he did hang out with whores. Have hung out with whores, not whores in like the literal sense, like whores, but in college, promiscuous women, like whatever, dude, live your life.
I'll tell this story again, and I'll probably end up telling it again at some point in time. But I went to a Bible college with this guy in a theological class, that was your prototypical Bible thumper.
Mm-hmm.
One day we got on the topic of marriage and who Christians are supposed to date and who Christians aren't supposed to date, blah, blah, blah. Well, there was a girl, and I'm the youngest one by far. Most of these people in class with me are all in their 40s, 50s, even 60s.
God damn.
In fact, the guy that I'm talking about was probably in his mid 40s, maybe 50s. The woman talking about how she met her husband, probably about the same age. And she starts saying, well, look at it this way. When I met my husband, he wasn't a Christian. He didn't want anything to do with church.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me 15 years of marriage for him to start going to church. And now he's like a leader in the church and like helps youth at the church and blah, blah, blah. God took this and made it a good situation. And the guy's like, well, yeah, that's because God took something broken and made it beautiful, but you were never supposed to be with your husband in the first place.
Who are you
And
to
it was like,
decide?
what did you just say? Like, what? And she took offense to it.
I would
Obviously,
too.
she's like, are you saying my marriage was broken before it ever started? And he said, well, yeah, because God wouldn't want you to mix your yoke with non-believers. It says right in the Bible. And this lady was like in tears. We ended up having to take a break like mid-class, and like the professor's consoling her and like people that are married are consoling her like in the hallway. And I walked up to him and I was like, look, I've never been married before, obviously. I'm a young guy. But let me just tell you this. It really irks me when people try to put God into a box and try to pretend like they're smarter than God when they talk about stuff like this. And she's like, well, what do you mean? I was like, so you're telling me that the creator of the world, the creator of the universe, is not smart enough to adjust over time and consider some things okay and other things not? Like, who are you to put limits upon God and limit him just to this book and just to this text? And even the theology teacher's like, I've never really thought about it like that. I'm like, well, I'm just telling you, your marriage is beautiful. I can see it in you. I can see it in your eyes. And you have 4 beautiful children, and your husband is a member of the church now. It's a brokenness.
Not cool.
Not only is that not a nice thing to say, but it's a very pompous statement to say that you have the ability to judge a situation in the same lens that the creator of the universe would. Like that's a very arrogant and pompous way to look at it, because you're not God. You're never going to be God. So stop trying to be. Stop.
Yeah.
Who made you in charge of deeming these situations acceptable or not acceptable? Shut the hell up, dude. Like, go away. Anyway.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Those are the worst type of religious people.
Okay.
Okay, let's.
Anything else you want to add on that?
No, before we delve down into this rabbit hole and spend 3 hours talking about it. What's the deal with this kid that got kidnapped by a UPS driver?
So, a FedEx contract driver in Texas was arrested Friday and charged in the kidnapping and murder of a 7-year-old girl who went missing 2 days earlier. The disappearance of Athena Strand, who vanished Wednesday from her home in Paradise in Wise County, prompted a large search with around 200 volunteers from the community. On Friday, they found her body southeast of the city, about 11 miles away. We do have a confession, Aiken said. The driver, Tanner Lynn Horner, 31, was arrested in charges of capital murder and aggravated kidnapping.
Jesus Christ.
He was being held in a jail in lieu of a $1.5 million bond Friday night. It was not immediately clear Friday if Horner had an attorney who could speak on his behalf. Athena arrived home from school Wednesday after school, as she usually does, and at 6:40 p.m., her stepmother reported the child missing. Horner delivered a package to the home around the time she was discovered missing. Investigators believe the girl died within about an hour of the abduction. Officials at a news conference did not reveal a motive and did not say how the child died. FedEx, in a statement, said that its thoughts are with the family and the company is cooperating fully. Words cannot describe our shock and sorrow at the reports. It has directed other questions to law enforcement. It was not clear how Horner had been a contract driver with the company. Her disappearance prompted a search that included helicopters with thermal imaging, help from the Rangers, blah, 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 blah. This community does not like losing its children, obviously. Yeah.
Jeez.
So, looks like it's pretty straightforward, unfortunately.
Yeah, I just kidnapped her, murdered her, and dumped her.
Damn.
Fuck, dude.
I have a stepdaughter that will be 7 in less than a month. And like I've said before, if anything like that would ever happen to her, that man better pray to God that the authorities find him before I find him.
I will
because it
go
will
straight
be
to jail.
a slow and painful death, and he will be dead, and I will be in jail, but he will have suffered as much pain and misery as possible along the way before he went to meet his maker and ultimately, hopefully, burn in hell. So
Yeah.
that's really, that's horrible. I don't know.
It is just terribly horrible. Like, that's, jeez. For why? Like, why?
I don't know, man. Another show we've been watching is on stalkers.
Yeah,
And,
I'm probably out on those. That shit's creepy as fuck.
People just have, I don't know, like some sense flip in their brain that just, once it flips, maybe this guy had seen her before. I don't know. It's really horrible. Especially, it's just really bad. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it.
Yeah, I can't do a deep dive into this because I am not like a psychologist and there's no more information right now, and I don't know what.
Well, at least they caught the guy, so he can't do it again. That's no.
And he's going to be in jail for the rest of his life, but.
Oh, they're gonna fry him in Texas.
That's right. That's still capital punishment is still a thing in Texas, huh?
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, he's done. He's going to the table and getting a cocktail from which he will not wake up.
I think they should just lock this guy up in a room with the worst people that they have in that prison system, because prison systems do have a code.
Oh, 100%.
And that's that if you have hurt a young girl, they
Children
are
at
going
all
to hurt you back. And so don't waste a needle. I wouldn't even say don't even waste a bullet. Just lock him in a room with, say, 10 of your most heinous killers and just let them, blow off some steam and just tear this guy limb from fucking limb. They already have a confession from him, so it's not like there's, like a trial.
Yeah,
he's confessed.
The prison system knows about the code, which is why when they put people in prison that have, done evil to children, they do not release them to Gen Pop. They go in and they put them.
Should.
Oh, 100%. I agree. They should definitely put them. Would just be like, here you go, and then whatever happens, happens, because those guys, especially the ones that are in there, probably for life, for murder or whatever, they don't give a fuck.
You like in the way I talk about a switch flipping for one of those horrible people. That a similar, how do I want to say this? A switch flips in my brain when it comes to this, of the just evil and pain that I want to cause to that individual. Like, maybe it's because I taught preschool for so long, or maybe it's like I've always had a spot in my heart for kids, and just like
a lot of factors in that for sure.
They're so innocent.
Yeah, like don't mess with the kids innocence. Like,
you want to talk about the Bible again, when everybody's standing around, all the disciples are standing around saying like, okay, Jesus, again, very human element in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, which disciple is the best? Like, which disciple is going to go to heaven first?
Who's your favorite?
Like, which one's more macho, huh? And he's like looking at him like, you dumbasses. And then he picks up the kid and he's like, so this is what you should be like. This will be the first to enter the gates of heaven. You know, the closest thing to heaven is a child.
Mm-hmm.
And to perpetuate, or not to perpetuate,
No,
to
perpetuate.
violate that
Yeah.
innocence and to do something like that to such an innocent being, I just want to rip your fingernails off. Like, I just want to do unspeakable, unfathomable things to just make you suffer as much as humanly possible.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably not right of me. I mean, that's probably bad. I don't know, but
I mean,
I really
but
don't care.
at the same time, dude, they're kids. Dude, you gotta just leave kids alone. Let them be kids, man.
I'm telling you, if this would ever happen to a niece or a nephew or to Reagan or to one of my children, you better pray to whatever being entity that you pray to that the authorities find you before I do.
Yes.
Just I would destroy them. I would
Full
just
full Liam Neeson, but like more brutal.
straight man on fire. If you've
Yeah,
never seen
there you
that
go.
movie,
That's a
great
good
movie.
one. Man on Fire, super
Straight
good movie.
man on fire after your ass. I
Yep.
will destroy anything and everything standing in my way.
Yep, that's a great movie.
It's horrible.
Yeah, that sucks, dude. She's just out there being a kid playing in the driveway and just gets yoinked and murdered. Like,
it's part of the reason why I haven't been able to bring myself to watch any of the new Casey Anthony stuff on on Hulu or
I'm
whatever
not
it's
watching
on.
that, dude.
Peacock.
Fuck her.
I don't know what happened, and I don't think we're ever gonna know what happened. I think that her mother contracted cancer and died after all of this happened because she knew what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of guilt and pain will literally give
Eat
someone
you up.
cancer and kill
Yep.
them. I don't know what happened, whether it was her or her dad, but that little girl's body decomposed in a car for 30 days, where her mom finally had to call the cops and say her car smells like a dead body. They know what happened. And now she's on this campaign, Casey Anthony, to like clear her name. And she's saying that she was abused as a child by her dad, which may be true. He's definitely said some really creepy things at Kaylee, the little girl's funeral. Like, he's no longer going to be able to like smell her when she comes in from outside from playing. Like, when you look at it through a new lens, it's really weird and kind of creepy.
Yo,
I
calm
don't
down,
know who
Joe
it was.
Biden.
Yeah. I don't know whether it was him or her or both of them or whatever. But once again, don't ever put me in a room with Casey Anthony. I'm not going to do anything to her. But if nobody was watching, I'd probably sock her in the face pretty hard. You know? Like,
Yeah.
I wouldn't kill her. But I'd probably give her a pretty good right hook, just straight to the eye socket. No, nose. I'd break her nose. Yeah, I would definitely break her nose. And I'd probably break the dad's nose too, just for good measure, just to make sure. Because one of those two knows what happened.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that whole situation is all very sus.
Yeah. And the fact that she is definitely a pathological liar. Lied to the police about working at is it Disneyland or Disney World, or said she worked at some theme park and to come to her work for an interview.
It had been,
and they were like walking
been years since I've
down a long
done that.
hallway for a while, and she was acting super weird, and then she finally turned around to the police and was like, okay, I gotta tell you, I don't actually work here. Like, what is
the
going
fuck?
on inside your
Yeah.
brain, lady? Like, she could not tell the truth. She just lied about everything.
Yeah, that's very
up one side and down the other. And like I said, I don't think anybody's ever gonna know what really happened.
No, it's not helping her case at all.
No. And I just hope she's not making any money off of it. I would hope she would just die and disappear. And
yeah,
your child doesn't go missing for 30 days and you just don't report it to the police.
Yeah,
and
like
your
you
car
don't.
smells like a dead carcass.
Yeah, like most parents I know, if their kid is missing, almost immediately go to the police.
I would be tearing up the countryside. Once again, I would be going full man on fire.
Yeah, you
And
don't
once
just
I found out my child was deceased, I would be going full man on fire trying to decease the person that made my child deceased.
Mhm.
And I wouldn't care how many years I'd go away. I wouldn't care about a mortal sin or anything. I would just make you unalive if you did something like that to my child. And I'd make sure you suffered as much as possible. I'm sorry. That's just
it's just how it
I
is.
won't talk about it anymore. But
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. It's just how it is. Does anybody have anything else for us to end on?
Yeah. What a happy note to end on, huh?
As opposed to
Hey,
that whole situation.
Brittney Griner's coming home though.
Hey, she's back.
Round of applause. She's coming home. I really am glad that an American's
I am. I'm deep down. I'm glad an American is coming home. That is a good thing.
Nobody deserves to be locked up in a foreign country for a weed pen.
No.
Prescription weed pen.
And at the same time, then if we did this for Brittney Griner, we might as well, like Spike Cohen has tweeted on his Twitter the last few days, just exonerate everybody that's in jail at the state level for the same crimes.
If we
Past,
still have
past and present,
people's-
just get rid of it.
if we still have people sitting behind bars stateside for marijuana charges, nonviolent drug charges, it is time to release them. 'Cause
Let
we just
them
paid
go.
a high cost.
We paid a very large cost to get Brittney Griner home, who was in jail for minor possession.
Imagine if you were sitting behind bars right now for a nonviolent drug charge and you saw all this Brittney Griner news. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, dude, 100%, dude. I'd be like, what the fuck? Is it my turn? Hello? Like, when do I get to get out of here? This is bullshit. And everybody that's
I'm not
like,
even asking for a trade. I'm not even
Yeah.
asking for anybody.
just let me out. It's legal in my state now. Like, fuck.
This is a one for none here. I mean, come on.
Yeah, for real. Go watch the
Squash,
movie
is that
Troll. Is that old, like, I feel like I watched a movie at some point called Troll, and it was kind of corny. Like, at one point the troll just comes out and the dude just goes troll, and then they like fucking die. Is that the movie?
I think he's talking about a new one that's on Netflix that I almost watched last night.
Like,
instead
I
of that
saw the
documentary.
ad for it. Like, I saw the title for it, and I was like, is that, because I looked at that and I was like, that's got to be the one I've seen, or parts of it.
And I
at
think
some
it's in a
point.
different language. I think it was in like
It-
Dutch or something.
Yeah, Dutch, because
like
it takes place over in fucking the Deutschland in Europe.
If that's the one he's talking about, I am gonna watch it tonight, as long as Kristen is okay with it.
Squash, I
'Cause
need
almost
answers. Is
clicked
that
on
it?
last night?
Is that the movie I'm thinking of, where the dude just yells troll and then the troll comes out of nowhere and just starts like fucking him up or whatever like happens? I just remember very vividly the dude screaming troll.
While we wait for Squash, watch the Stoltz documentary on Jonah Hill's therapist.
Okay.
It's fantastic, dude.
I don't know why we're making a documentary about Jonah Hill's therapist, but okay.
I know, and it's really hard. It's about
Like, did his
so
therapist fuck
Jonah
him up or
Hill's-
what?
No, it's about how he's helping him, and he wants to make a movie about his methodology because it's very different than, he kind of goes against the grain of like the
Normal
typical
therapists.
therapist type methodology. Yeah, he says it like in the very first, the therapist is like, why do you want to make this movie? And he says that. So I won't give anything away.
Okay.
About
It's surprisingly good.
humans
It's
killing
about humans killing a majestic creature. Oh, so humans just being humans again? Also,
Okay,
it's
it is
set
the one
in
in
Norway. Okay. I might watch it. I feel like, okay, I might have to watch it. Probably not tonight. It depends on what time this gets over. How long is it, Squash? If it's over 2 hours, I can't watch it tonight. I got to go to bed.
I made chili last night that was slamming, and I cannot wait to heat up a bowl of that chili for dinner tonight.
Hell
I've
yeah.
just had a night to marinate.
Oh,
But,
chili,
the
second day
Stoltz
chili is always the
documentary-
best.
Yes. The Stoltz documentary, it legitimately made me laugh out loud, like belly laugh out loud.
Mm-hmm.
It made me cry, and it made me think. Which, if you're on the Jimmy V train of methodology, that's a good day.
Yeah.
You laugh, you cry, and you think. So I took away a lot of things from it that like real life personal, like not necessarily coping mechanisms, but just, different lenses to look at life.
God damn it, Squash.
So not only is it educational, like especially in the realm of mental health, but it's very funny and it's just really good. Just watch it.
All right, I'll give it a go.
Trust me.
I'll give her a
It's very
go.
good.
I might start watching it on like Tuesday when I go to the gym to do my treadmill stuff. Just watch that while I do the treadmill.
It would be a good treadmill movie. I think it's an hour and a half.
Yeah, I usually try and go about 45 minutes to an hour on the treadmill, so I get a decent way through it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, sweet. All right, well, on to that, there's some recommendations of shows for you guys to watch and news. Oh, yes, this week. Okay, so this is going to be our last stream on Twitch. I'm going to do my best this week to transition everything over to YouTube and look into just going live on YouTube on our channel over there. That way, when we're done here, the VOD just goes straight to YouTube, and I don't have to do any transferring because, let's be real, I'm not going to catch up on the ones that we've done.
So do people just need to subscribe to our YouTube channel then?
Yes, probably most of you already are. I mean, obviously subscriptions will help push it so we can get more discoverability on YouTube. But I don't think you have to be subscribed to comment unless, I set it up like that, which I probably won't. So it'll basically run the same as it's running now. Will just be on YouTube instead of Twitch. Because Twitch's discoverability is ass.
Make sure you hit subscribe and then turn on the notifications so you can get the notifications when we go live.
Yep. Subscribe, notifications, and when the streams happen, make sure to like the streams while they're going on because that helps as well. So, typical YouTuber
comment,
shit, dude.
subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe, fucking, you know how it goes. But
hit that
for
little
real,
bell.
all that jazz, just because I think the discoverability is going to be better on YouTube, and it's just going to make life easier to where I don't have to export the video files to put them on YouTube.
Yes. Cool.
Yep.
All right.
Anyways,
Twitch has been fun.
But yep, so Twitch has been fun, but we're going to move to YouTube. I will be looking into that this coming week. So next week, podcast, same place. Well, not same place, same time, new place. We will see you guys on YouTube.
See you on the tubes.
On the tubes, baby. All right. That you guys
Tell
have.
somebody you love them. I beat you to it this time.
You did beat me to it, dude.
Tell somebody you love them. Get in a word battle on somebody on Twitter saying that gay people are going to hell because gay people are not going to hell.
They're not. Just don't get banned on the old
follow Zach Lambert on Twitter for any of that because you can find a lot of trolls on there and they're kind of fun to interact with.
A lot of trolls.
So be good to people. Tell
be
somebody
good to people.
You love them.
All right, guys. We will see you later. Peace.
Love you guys.
Yeah.